you missed it, President Trump was asked by the media if he was going to ask Putin to not meddle in the election in 2020. So he leaned into Putin and said, hey, buddy, don't meddle in the elections 2020. Putin said, okay. They had a big laugh about it. The drive-bys are livid. It was funny as hell. Have a great weekend, and we'll be right back here on Monday, folks. No vacation here. See you then.
Doors are being slammed in your face, and bad credit is holding you back from buying a house, car, even getting a credit card. $99 can put your credit back to a 720 or higher. That's right, just $99. Bankruptcy, tax liens, judgments, and even late pays can be removed from credit reports by calling the Giving Days Foundation. A nonprofit organization is here to help. Federal law allows you to challenge each and every item on your credit report. We'll recalculate your personal credit score for only $99 and repair your personal credit for free. Just be one of the first 10 callers. Take our personal credit challenge. Get your credit score to a 720. 800-543-5772. Call now to recalculate your personal credit score for only $99 and repair your personal credit for free. Call now. 800-543-5772. Don't miss this great free credit repair. Just be one of the first 10 callers. 800-543-5772.
Hi, this is Gary Rima, the voice of the University of Northern Iowa Panthers, and this is the home for Panther Sports, the voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
A missing persons case ends in murder. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. An accused killer now under arrest in Utah 11 days after a university student went missing. Fox's Jeff Manasso with more live.
Lisa, Salt Lake City Police Chief Mike Brown says that 23-year-old Mackenzie Lewick was the victim of a murder, all confirmed by the search of a home this week, fresh digs in the backyard in a burn pile,
which resulted in the finding of several charred items that were consistent with personal items of Mackenzie Lewick. Other charred material was located, which has now been forensically determined to be female human tissue.
The Nigerian-born suspect now booked into city jail awaiting formal charges. Police say it was a digital footprint, text messages that linked the two, who apparently met up at a Salt Lake City park at 3 a.m. on June 17th. Lisa.
Thanks, Jeff. Former Vice President Joe Biden defending his civil rights record.
I fought my heart out to ensure that civil rights and voting rights, equal rights, are enforced everywhere.
This after being challenged repeatedly by Senator and fellow presidential hopeful Kamala Harris during last night's Democratic debate.
The discussion in this race today shouldn't be about the past. We should be talking about how we can do better, how we can move forward.
Biden speaking at an event with the Reverend Jesse Jackson, the Rainbow Push Convention, a short time ago, and pledging to be a president who stands against racism. Life in prison for the white supremacist who struck and killed a counter-protester with his car during a white nationalist rally in Virginia 2 years ago. James Fields Jr. just sentenced on federal hate crime charges, apologizing in court for the hurt and loss he's caused and saying he regrets his actions. He'll be sentenced again on state charges next month for the death of Heather Heyer. This is Fox News.
Life is lived by moving forward, seizing the open road, embracing what's ahead. It's why we created Ford Pass. Everything you need to keep forging ahead in one app, right in the palm of your hand. Only Ford Pass combines roadside assistance, Ford Pass rewards, and now when you buy or lease a new Ford, earn points you can use toward flexible complimentary maintenance. Ford Pass, built to keep you moving, built Ford proud. Visit your participating Ford dealership to find out about earning points for flexible complimentary maintenance when you buy or lease a new Ford and sign up for rewards.
Roadside assistance is included for certain Ford owners and available to everyone for a per-service fee. Ford reserves the right to change program details without obligations. Visit your participating dealer or FordPassRewards.com for program rules and restrictions. Ford Pass, compatible with select smartphone platforms, is available via a download.
Acting U.S. Defense Chief wrapping up a 2-day visit to NATO headquarters in Brussels, where Iran and Russia were part of the focus.
While Iranians need more convincing.
In response to requests for more information, I also directed my team to provide a detailed brief to my counterparts on the degree and depth of Iranian malign influence.
Esper also warned Russia it has until August 2nd to come back to compliance with the INF Treaty, a decades-old nuclear arms control agreement, or the U.S. will officially leave. At the Pentagon, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
The U.S. hoping to get trade talks with China back on track. President Trump set to meet with President Xi later today on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Japan. More U.S. sanctions aimed at targeting the regime of Venezuela's disputed leader.
The State Department announcing that the U.S. has imposed sanctions against Nicolas Maduro's son for his role as an official in the illegitimate Maduro regime. Nicolas Maduro Guerra is a member of what the White House views as the illegitimate National Constituent Assembly, a body established by his father to undermine the democratically elected National Assembly. The State Department, in a statement writing, while Nicolas Maduro, his family, and associates continue to enjoy lives of luxury, the Venezuelan people suffer and millions have been forced to flee their homes. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
The U.S. and dozens of other countries back opposition leader and self-proclaimed President Juan Guaido over Maduro. An hour to the close on Wall Street. Stocks are higher, not as high as they had been, though. Right now, the Dow is up about 13 points. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
With us, look at local news for the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting. South Dakota-based Sanford Health and Iowa's Unity Point Healthcare have announced plans to merge in an agreement that would create a sprawling health system in the upper Great Plains and Midwest. The two providers announced their plans earlier today. The Argus Leader in Sioux Falls reports if the merger is approved by regulators, it could be finalized by year's end. The providers said the merger would place the company among the top 15 largest nonprofit health systems nationwide. The new organization would employ more than 83,000 staff, 2,600 physicians, and have more than $11 billion in revenue. Unity Point operates 32 hospitals, including in Fort Dodge, and has relationships with 280 physician clinics throughout Iowa, Western Illinois, and Southern Wisconsin. Sanford Health's organization includes 44 hospitals, 1,400 physicians, and more than 200 Good Samaritan Society senior care locations in 26 states and 9 countries. Wright County authorities are asking for the public's help in identifying the driver of a vehicle involved in a hit and run involving a bicycle on Thursday. The Wright County Sheriff's Department says they were called at about 9:35 last night to a hit and run 2 miles north of Belmont on U.S. Highway 69. On arrival, they found a male subject that had been hit while riding his bike. Witnesses told authorities that a black or blue Ford pickup, believed to be a 2008 or 2014 model, stopped momentarily after striking the victim, then sped off southbound on US 69. The pickup is believed to have damaged the passenger's side mirror. If you have any information about the incident, you're asked to contact the Wright County Sheriff's Department at 515-532-3722. A judge has dismissed a lawsuit challenging a new state law that changed the way some judges are selected in Iowa. The lawsuit filed in May by a group of Democratic lawmakers and lawyers against Governor Reynolds was dismissed Thursday by a state court judge who said they don't have legal standing to challenge the law. The new law passed by Republicans and signed by Reynolds gave the governor an additional appointment to the 17-member state judicial nominating commission, resulting in the governor having a majority of 9 appointees. Lawyers continue to elect 8 members to that group. The lawsuit alleged that the vote of the lawyer members of the commission has been diluted and that the law is an unconstitutional overreach by the legislative branch of government into the judicial branch. The commission nominates justices for the Iowa Supreme Court and the Iowa Court of Appeals. Judge Sarah Crane, who was appointed to the court by Reynolds last year, dismissed the case. Reynolds says the decision is good news for the rule of law and Iowans. Attorneys for the plaintiffs say the decision will be appealed to the Iowa Supreme Court. And it'll be a steamy weekend throughout the state of Iowa. Meteorologist Corey Martin at the National Weather Service office of Metro Des Moines says summer's not even been here for a week, and it's already time to crank up those fans and air conditioners.
Temperature is going to be getting up into the 90s, along with the humidity that's already in place here. It's not going to go anywhere. So you combine that kind of heat and humidity, we're looking at heat indices getting into the low 100s as we go through the weekend.
And when the heat index gets into the triple digits, Martin says it's important to take the heat seriously and take precautions if you're working or playing outside.
The last time we saw 90-plus degrees in Iowa would have been earlier this month. I believe on June 5th, we had quite a few locations here in central Iowa crack 90 degrees, but at that time we didn't have the same level of humidity. it's going to feel kind of like our typical, you want to call it dog days of summer, where it's just hot and humid. You just want to make sure during the peak heating time that you limit your time outside and stay hydrated.
The extended forecast calls for highs in the 80s and 90s across much of Iowa, at least through next Wednesday. The tropical temperatures are hard on people, but it's good for the corn crop. It's been a week of catching up on the growing front after a wet spring put corn planting about 2 weeks behind. ISU Extension Field Specialist Rebecca Vitito says the heat will help, but not all corn will hit the mark of the old adage, knee-high by the 4th of July throughout the state. She says some of the earlier planted corn will make it, but the latter planted corn will be lucky to be knee-high. Vitito says she doesn't like being out in this heat, but likes what it does to the corn.
The heat will definitely help grow, and if we're going to have hotter temperatures, I'd like it, especially on the corn side. Right now, I don't want it when that corn's going to be cackling and pollinating to make that ear. So having the heat now is kind of going to help push it along, and then once we reach tassel time and when we go to pollination and grain fill, I'd like it to cool off so we can have a longer grain fill period.
Corn is normally ready to start the tasseling phase around mid-July, but she says that could be the end of July or early August this year. Vitito has talked with her colleagues and is hearing there's large variance across the state in corn development.
Some cases, I know like northern Iowa, especially like northwest Iowa, they had really delayed planting. Other parts of the state, like southwest Iowa, not as delayed. So it does vary, and it even varies within the county too, depending upon who got the rain or if it was river bottom ground too.
The last USDA crop report listed 62% of the corn crop is in good to excellent condition. 63% of the beans were rated in good to excellent condition. The next report is due out on Monday. That's a look at local news from the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher.
Here's
reporting.
the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with highs around 85. Southeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 71 tonight. Partly cloudy again tomorrow. Highs around 92. Low 90s Sunday. Cooler Monday with highs in the upper 80s and thunderstorms. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 81.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Take us to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for this station so we can go wherever you want us to.
Have you heard? New as of July 1st, grain bins will be sales tax exempt in Iowa. The Sukup team thanks the Iowa legislature for backing the ag industry in our home state. With a recent jump in corn prices, now is the time to take advantage of Sukup bins. They're ready to ship, letting you take charge of your grain and maximize your profits. Visit Sukup.com. That's SUKUP.com to find your local Sukup dealer today and learn how we can help you store now, profit later.
When severe weather threatens, keep it here for the Severe Weather Advisor. Brought to you by Creative Signs and Graphics Fort Dodge. For signs, decals, vehicle graphics, magnets, logos, customized documents, and more. If your business needs it, Creative Signs and Graphics can make it. And a stitch above the rest embroidery, Fort Dodge. Step out in style with quality brands, timely turnaround, and professional service. A stitch above the rest. Embroidery professionals worth finding. Remember, when severe weather threatens, stay with your friends on KVFD.
If you don't listen to him, you suck.
He's sneaky, but he's right.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. Yeah, we're going to tell the truth, make it matter, and we're never going to be boring. Joining me today is Representative Ann Meyer. Hi, Ann.
Hi. Hi, Mike.
You look real summery over there. I mean, you've got the tan thing going on. The whole works.
We've been having a pretty decent summer, but really my tan comes from
out of the bottle, does it?
No, it doesn't. I'm running outside just about every day.
You run every day?
Uh-huh.
Do you really? How far you run?
6 miles generally, but it depends on how much time I have. I'm a little bit slower than I used to be. So.
Well, that's no surprise to him. Does Jim go with you? That would explain why you and Jim look like you're in very good shape for your, dare I say your age, but yeah. I'm older than both of you, so I can say that.
Jim gets his son from the golf course.
Oh, he goes out to golf course?
Yeah.
Wherever you get it.
Yeah.
But Jim looks like he's in pretty good shape. I mean, he doesn't have the middle-aged spread that I've seen.
No, he doesn't. He's gets up early every day and gets on the treadmill.
Oh, is that what he does?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we think it's pretty important to, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, gosh, I long for the days when you used to go see the doctor and he was way overweight and he smoked cigarettes in his office. We used to have them there here in Iowa. We did. Oh, yeah. Doctors coughing and wheezing and smoking cigarettes. It was great stuff.
Oh, brother.
Oh, that was a long time
Well,
ago.
we all have the pictures of our moms smoking while they were pregnant
Yeah.
with a drink in their hand.
Not my mom, but a couple of my sisters were guilty of that. And they didn't know they were doing the wrong thing. I don't think necessarily, but well, my sisters probably had some kind of inkling that they did. Anyway, that was a long time ago too. I have seen and posted on Facebook, posted on your Facebook page, a piece by a conservative online magazine, the Iowa Standard. Now, frankly, I say conservative just to name it, but I have Laura Bellin on here from Bleeding Heartland, and she's very liberal. And frankly, when I'm on this radio station, it's a pretty conservative radio station. It doesn't mean there's anything phony about the Iowa Standard's reporting. I haven't heard it rebutted at all. And I haven't seen it covered by any of the big newspapers or television stations in the state, which means two things. They're not sure of the reporting behind the story on Justice Cady and lobbying, or they're trying to prevent widespread dissemination of the story, which would be worse as far as I'm concerned. But the Des Moines Register is definitely a big liberal paper. The story,
I would agree with that.
The story essentially is that Chief Justice Mark Cady was behind a lobbying effort to prevent changes in judicial nominating. Now, you were one of the people who opposed the initial plan by your party. I thought it was a pretty courageous stand, Ann, since this is really your first session, and you were twice summoned to the governor's office, the governor of your own party, and she apparently urged you to vote for the judicial changes, and you refused, which was pretty gutsy. However, in light of this new information that there was a lobbying effort apparently by Justice Cady, or at least Justice Cady was behind it and supportive of it, that the lobbying effort would focus on the House members such as yourself.
Yep.
And and apparently some lobbyists working with or at the not at the direction of, but at the behest of Chief Justice Cady, some lobbyists had business people in various areas. Gary Worthern over in Storm Lake was one. Lobbyists would call business people in that area, in whatever area where they thought there was a House member that might vote to prevent the changes that the Republican Party was trying to make in the judicial process. That's what lobbyists do.
Sure.
They urge people who are influential or well-known in a particular area to call our legislature and say, my business needs Justice Cady, Chief Justice Cady to remain Chief Justice, or my business needs our judiciary to remain independent, or any of those things. It may or may not be true. They may be doing it at the behest of just a lobbyist or as a favor to it may have nothing to do with their business is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And you told me, and you haven't named anyone, and I don't expect you to, that you did receive calls from business people who were opposed to changes in our judicial process. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did. I definitely did hear from people who were not involved with the law. They're not lawyers.
Right. Well, some of them then could have been calling at the behest of lobbyists employed by the Chief Justice, or not employed by the Chief Justice. At least the Chief Justice was aware of their efforts. Do you feel a little bit suckered by this? Do you feel taken advantage of, or not?
I don't feel taken advantage of. I'll tell you, because and we talked about this over and over and over again. But
this is new. This is new material.
Yeah,
though.
but I'm just going to go back to why I was opposed to it.
But here's a question I'm going to ask you. Okay. Had you known that there was a lobbying effort going on, would you have voted this way? But go right ahead now, please.
Okay, so people did call me, but again, when we first started talking about this, when that first bill came out, remember, they are choosing people to send to the governor to become one of the Supreme Court justices, right?
Yes.
So 8 of those people on the commission were chosen by the governor. 8 of those people were chosen by the Bar Association, the lawyers, the people who work with the law and with those lawyers. You know what? The change was they were going to take all of the Bar Association picks off of that, and they were going to replace them with essentially political picks, right? It was going to be 2 from the House Majority Leader, 2 from the House Minority Leader, 2 from the Senate Majority Leader, and 2 from the Senate Minority Leader. Okay. That completely removed the lawyers from the mix. If I was in leadership, I know our leaders, and I'm not really sure what the minority leader does. Todd Pritchard is out from. I don't know what his background is. I should know, but I don't. I know that Speaker Uppmeyer is a healthcare professional, and she may have other. She may know a lot of good lawyers.
Sure.
That's fine. I'm not sure what Pritchard does, but he may or may not be involved in that. If I was leadership, I wouldn't know what lawyer to send down there. I thought it was wrong to take, personally, I thought it was wrong to take the lawyers out of the mix. It would be like taking the doctors out of.
And that's, I'm sorry, I must stop you right there.
Okay.
And I was hoping you were going to say that. But medicine is science. Medicine is science. There's no debate on what penicillin does. Penicillin does something very specific. Okay? And there's probably no changing what penicillin does.
Correct.
Now, as far as the law is concerned, that's up for debate. That's up for interpretation. In other words, if I would come to you and say, or your husband, Jim, prescribes penicillin for me, I'm going to get in a debate with him about the character of penicillin, or the value of penicillin, or the moral quality of penicillin, because that's what lawyers do. And they vary and differ in their approach to the law. And more importantly, the Supreme Court in Iowa and at the federal level have taken it onto themselves to decide what our moral code is going to be. That's something medicine never does. No group of nurses, no group of doctors come before us and say, we have decided, because we're doctors, that we know more about you than this. So we're going to tell you how to live.
Okay. And I understand that. And you know what? I kind of personally agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're going to choose people for the Board of Medicine and we're talking about medical policy, let's talk about the marijuana, the cannabidiol legislation that was just vetoed by the governor. Do you think it was, after we passed it in the House, after the Senate passed it, is it fair? I have a lot of respect for the governor, and I'm not trying, show any disrespect for her, but I completely disagree with her on this issue. She's making medical policy,
yes,
and she's not in the healthcare field.
If you're telling me that the governor and the Supreme Court of Iowa are political entities, I'm going to agree with you all the way, and vote on their emotion and preferences. I'll agree with you 100%. Governor Reynolds is making an emotional decision, and that's what I'm arguing our lawyers do, who are also judges. They make emotional decisions, and there's more
based
and more,
on their personal beliefs.
That's right.
You know what? I'd have to agree with that.
Well, shouldn't then the people of the state of Iowa have some input, as a matter of fact, a lot of input, into who are, by your own definition, biased judges are? Who sits on that court? If all judges are biased, and I believe themselves to be, I make no bones about my bias. I don't.
You do not.
I do not. I do not assume for a second that I am a superhuman being without bias. And when the attorneys say that they are, or the judges say that, yes, we have our personal beliefs, but we're disciplined, so we could ignore them, or they won't affect our decisions, I go nuts, because that's simply not right. And there's a growing body of evidence coming from psychiatry that is telling us exactly that important decisions in our lives are sometimes, they are subliminally influenced. And subliminally influenced means that's some sort of unconscious thing that you're doing. You know that. But subliminal thoughts are affecting their decisions. Maybe an old hurt from childhood, God knows, something from their religion, or not, or lack of religion.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, we have to have If we're going to be a democracy, because I believe in democracy, I believe in deliberation, and I believe in hashing it out. I don't believe in an all-powerful entity that comes along with a meat cleaver and says, debate's over. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. No, I think the people of the state of Iowa can be trusted to rule and govern their own lives. I do.
You know what? And I agree with that. I will tell you.
So I've convinced you you're going to go back and vote the other way next time, or what?
I voted the correct way. I mean, I voted to make the subtle changes that were made because I did agree with them.
Okay.
And I did have, again, I had a lot of support after I asked for it. I mean, I asked for people who are on the other side, because a lot of times conservatives don't give their opinion. It's more when you ask for someone's opinion, when you ask for the support or non-support, they did come through. I will tell you, so going back to this issue on the judicial nominating, there was a lawsuit. Of course there was a lawsuit.
Of course there was a lawsuit.
Of course there was a lawsuit filed against it. But I would like to tell you that yesterday, Judge Sarah Crane dismissed the case against the case that was brought against the governor and the legislature. So
the case involving what again?
The judicial nomination. So there were several representatives.
They just took a shot. Yeah, who was it? It was some lawyer somewhere. Just took a wild shot. I might as well try it. You never know what the judges are going to say or think. So we might as well take a shot at it.
But we did have several of the members of the House who joined that lawsuit, and it was closed down. So I have to say I feel like that was a good ruling.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Now let's talk about the governor and weed. The governor is, again, making a purely emotional decision. Apparently she had a drinking problem when she was younger, and she described marijuana as a gateway drug. Gateway to what? A lot of people smoke marijuana and they don't have any problem with it. A lot of people drink and don't have any problem with it. There's a small percentage, less than 10%, that have problems with alcohol and drugs. And the governor is saying, well, and I don't think that'll change. And the governor, for some reason, because she's one of that 10%, is refusing to move forward with recreational marijuana, and she's being ridiculous on the cannabis oil. It's absurd.
And the cannabidiol, I completely agree with your assessment of that. I was really disappointed to see that veto. I'm actually one of the representatives that called for the override of that veto. I'm not sure how many did. At the beginning of the week, I heard it was less than 10. So they still have the rest of the week to get their requests in. I hope they did. And we talked about this. What the governor was opposed to is the limit. So we switched it from a percentage, 3% THC, to a milligram dosage, and then made that milligram dose, because the percentage could be variable based on the delivery system. So she was opposed to the limit. She said the limit was too high. As healthcare providers, as a physician, my husband even said, he took care of hospice patients for many years. He still takes care of hospice patients. I mean, he was the director of hospice during several periods of time. We don't start out prescribing the limit to any patient. We start out low and then gradually increase. I think it was wrong to assume that a provider was going to just start out willy-nilly giving the top limit. And then, okay, we are going to go back. If this special session isn't called for a veto, we're going back next year. But if you can imagine, if there's someone in chronic pain every day, they're suffering, they saw this pass the House, they saw this pass the Senate. I mean, it passed 150 people, a conservative majority passed this legislation. They're thinking, finally, in July, I am going to get to try something else. Maybe I've got a shot at getting rid of some of this pain. And then to see that veto, I can only imagine how someone must feel when they have to wait another year to even have it addressed. And that makes me, as a healthcare provider, as a person, I don't want to see anyone suffer.
Yeah.
But I just I don't agree with the veto.
No, I don't.
line.
And as an aside, she would not be governor today if not for voters from the congressional 4th district. Steve King was her campaign co-chair. He rallied the 4th district for Kim Reynolds, and she beat Fred Hubble by 3 percentage points. If not for Steve King, Fred Hubble's a governor. She cut Steve King loose. She booted him. Did we make a mistake electing Kim Reynolds, people of Iowa? Because I'll tell you, she is not comporting herself very well in office as far as I'm concerned. She has refused, even after the Molly Tibbetts murder, even after all the uproar about illegal immigration, to require E-Verify for employers. And she gave me a reason on this radio station that was ludicrous. Ludicrous. She just doesn't want to do it. I mean, that's because she's being supported, of course, by big ag producers who really like exploitable labor. But that's no reason not to require E-Verify.
And I do support E-Verify as well. But I have a lot of respect for the governor, and I think she's doing a lot of good things to move Iowa forward. We just have a difference of opinion on a few matters that unfortunately are big in the press. But I don't think we made a mistake with Kim Reynolds. I have a lot of respect for her, and I think she's overall doing a very good job.
That's not the way we play the game in Iowa. I know she's from Iowa. I know she grew up in southern Iowa. I've met her a number of times, and she's a very pleasant person. But some of her moves like this, the Steve King thing, the marijuana thing, the E-Verify thing, I'm wondering what she's doing. I'm wondering where her heart is, frankly.
E-Verify didn't come up though in either one of our either the House or the Senate.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
It's not just her.
I expected to. She could do it unilaterally.
Well, yeah, you're right. She probably could, but I mean, I don't know that she wants to do stuff without support of the whole.
How could there? I would love to have that conversation with some of my ag representatives because they would have to advocate for illegal immigration. They would have to advocate if they don't want E-Verify. That means, and they have to admit that their actions will result in large unchecked immigration to our area. We'll have to let in people, or there will be hiring people. We have no idea who they are, what their criminal record is, even where they're from.
I did a lot of research on E-Verify last year before the election, and it's not a perfect system, but it's a good system. It's the best we have right now.
It is not. It's not, but it's a good system.
Yep.
It's a place to start.
Yep.
And I know who's behind this, and Steve King even suspects that's behind Randy Feimster's running at him from the right for the Republican nomination, that there's some big chicken house growers up there in 4th Congressional District that love exploitable, cheap labor. And since Steve King has been raising hell out of illegal immigration for years, they want him out. I asked Randy Feimster that question on the air, is that who's behind you? And he said, no, check who my backers are. So I haven't done it yet. But I like Randy too. He's a ball of energy. But I'll see what's going on with him. Yeah. And I can't tell you how great it is to see you again. And I really appreciate you coming in on short notice. And I'm going to take most of the 4th week off, so we won't be on next week. But after that, I look forward to having you on every Friday that you can be on.
Great. I'll look forward to updating you on maybe some mental health issues that we're working with the county social services with. So, yeah.
Well, that's good, because I'm about to lose my mind.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
That AM 1400 KVFD.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. 2:33, Janice Valentine coming up.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Oh, why not just cremate me when I'm gone?
Sounds simple, doesn't it? However, there are many options to consider when cremation is chosen. From simple to detailed, we at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services can help you create a unique commemoration.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Hi, I'm Tommy. I'm a farmer, a wife, a mom, a leader in my community, and I live with HIV. My life is just like yours. I get up every day hoping for the best day possible out in field. I feed my soul with hard work and am dedicated to making the most out of every day. I wasn't always so optimistic, but once I found out that I'm just one of over 3,000 Iowans living with HIV, I knew I wasn't alone. I reached out to the Iowa Department of Public Health and found out I qualified for medication and medical care, financial help, transportation, housing, and counseling through Ryan White funding. That was a huge relief to me and my family. I've taken control of my diagnosis and take care of myself so I can live my best life. I'm living with HIV, not dying from it. Why wait? Reach out for testing and care services at StopHIVIowa.org.
Got a painting or staining project to do? Check out Iowa Doors and Hardware first. Come in now through July 7th during their summer rebates event and save up to $80 on the industry's highest quality products, Valspar interior and exterior paint, and Cabot exterior stains. You're going to love the extensive paint department at Iowa Outdoors and Hardware. It's stocked with everything you need for your summer projects. For all your paint needs, see Iowa Outdoors and Hardware at the junction of Highways 169 and 7, Fort Dodge.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Michael Devine, 235. The fabulous Janice Valentine is waiting in the wings. Let me give you the weather forecast, ladies and gentlemen, because I know you're dying for it. It's a pretty good weather forecast. Man, is it hot right now, and I'm going down to see the Iowa Cubs tonight, and I look forward to it. It's my grandson's birthday, so he loves baseball. His dad loves baseball. I love baseball, so we look forward to roasting in the stands tonight, I guess. 81 degrees, mostly sunny today. Our high will be 86. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 71. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 92 with a heat index of 102. On Sunday, mostly sunny with a high of 93. Monday, a chance of rain with a high of 90. Tuesday, chance of rain, high of 90. Wednesday, slight chance of rain, high 86. 4th of July, a slight chance of a thunderstorm, mostly sunny with a high of 85 degrees. Right now in Fort Dodge, yes, it's 81 degrees at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. The fabulous Janice Valentine right after the closing market report with Dwayne Murley.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. July corn down 19 3/4 at $4.20 1/4. September down 21 cents at $4.24 3/4. December down 19 1/2 at $4.31 1/2. March down 17 1/4 at $4.39 1/2. July soybeans up 12 cents at $8.99 3/4. August up 10 3/4 at $9.04 1/2. September beans up 11 at $9.11. November up 10 3/4 at $9.23. July wheat closed down 19 1/2 at $5.28. Soybean meal up 90 cents a ton at $3.13.10. June live cattle down 7 cents at $110.50. August down $1 at $104.35. August feeder cattle up 105 at $136.85. September up 60 cents at $136.70. July lean hogs down 172 at $72.10, and August down 117 at $76. From the farm desk, I'm Dwayne Murley.
Michael Devine and Janice Valentine, now at AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. Hi, Janice. How you doing?
I'm fabulous, Mike. How about you?
I know you're fabulous. Our guest is the fabulous Janice Valentine. She's an attorney here in Fort Dodge, practicing primarily in workers' compensation and personal injury. There is no fee for first consultation. Janice Valentine is at Valentine Law Office, PC. J. Valentine at valentinelaw.net. You may contact her office at 515-955-5544. She's at 415 the Boston Center, 809 Central Avenue in Fort Dodge, or at www.valentinelaw.net. Yeah, Janice, I had to do it the last two nights, and I knew it was going to get on my nerves. But it's like a car accident. I had to watch, Janice. I had to watch. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the Democratic Party debates. And yes, it was a train wreck. Did you watch any of the debates or not?
I have to admit, we had the Cubs and the Braves on TV.
Well, I went back and forth with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I was less stressed than you. Yes, much so. But actually, no. Last night's game was it was a little stressful. But no, I didn't watch. I kind of have seen some media snippets and commentary on how the debates went. I did catch Chris Christie. He was on Stephen Colbert last night, and I always I think he's just an entertaining guy.
Chris Christie?
I ended up meeting him when I was staying at the downtown Marriott in Des Moines. It was, I think, during Governor Bradstad's inauguration or something. He was in town and staying there, and so we ended up down in the hotel lobby at the same time and struck up a conversation. He's just always been kind of entertaining to me. So it was interesting to hear his perspective on how he thought the candidates did, and he was extremely brutally honest, as he usually is. So
yeah, he was a fun governor in New Jersey, but he was a governor of the wrong state there. New Jersey's kind of a liberal state. If he'd have come to Iowa, he'd have been great. He'd have been terrific. As a matter of fact, I was just talking with Ann Meyer, our friend Representative Ann Meyer, about the governor's bizarre positions on marijuana. Never mind the cannabis oil, which can help people who are in pain. But there's an article in the Cedar Rapids Gazette today that I posted on my Facebook page that Governor Reynolds has said that she will never be the one to legalize marijuana in the state of Iowa. Very soon, January 1st, we can drive right across the Mississippi River and pick up a bag of weed. There'll be marijuana stores over there. And Minnesota may be next. Even Nebraska is moving forward. And in Iowa, we're in the 1950s. I take it you're not in favor of the legalization of marijuana.
Oh no, I'm all in favor of it.
Oh, okay.
I really am. I mean, I don't have any use for it and don't want to do anything with it. But to me, if a doctor can prescribe, and this is the medical side of it, but if a doctor can prescribe opioids and methadone and all these other very powerful synthetic drugs, I don't understand why we wouldn't allow them to prescribe marijuana. And in terms of just making it generally legal, people have been doing weed since I've known what weed was. And why aren't we making money off of it? I mean, let's tax it, let's license it, all these things. Look at the coffers that are there, but because it's going to still happen. I would, as just a PSA, if you're going to go across the Mississippi River, I would have every expectation that there's going to be a little higher ramping up of law enforcement when you come across. I want to be aware of that. The canine units are probably going to be out and about.
The Highway Patrol is going to be on the lookout for older people with a smile on their face listening to the Grateful Dead. That's for sure.
And driving 25 miles.
And driving 25 miles per hour. And an excessive mellowness there on the highway will not be tolerated. But I don't know. This is one of those internet memes. I don't know if it's true or not. But I do know my friend in Washington State told me that the first year that they legalized recreational marijuana out there, they realized a quarter of $1 billion in new revenue. Supposedly in Colorado, this is where the internet meme comes in. The state of Colorado has realized $1 billion in new revenue. Now, there is plenty of conversation in the Chicago newspapers that the newly elected Democratic governor of Illinois is legalizing marijuana, at least in part, to save his public employee pension plans, which is fine with me, by the way. If they've overpromised and underdeliver in Illinois, the legalization of marijuana may pull them out. I mean, that's fine with me.
I guess my point is it's happening.
Yeah.
That quote, war on drugs, that we've lost. It's over. Let's shift gears and figure out a different way to deal with this issue than just declaring a war on drugs. It's not working.
I mean, come on. If you look at the statistics around alcohol abuse, or even just somebody who goes out and gets honked every now and then, I mean, they're staggering. I mean, there's a real problem out there regarding alcohol, and we serve a lot of alcohol just in Fort Dodge, not as much as we used to because I quit drinking, but but we're still selling a lot of liquor. The whole thing is that the liquor is culturally and socially acceptable, and marijuana in some circles isn't, which is unfortunate. I want to talk with you, and we're talking with Janice Valentine, a local attorney here at AM 1400 KVFD. I want to talk with you about a piece that I just spoke with Ann Meyer about, and that is an article in the Iowa Standard. Now, the Iowa Standard is a very conservative online newspaper. It's as conservative as the Bleeding Heartland is liberal. Now, I have an email to the Iowa Standard asking for their sources on a story about Chief Justice Cady, supposedly involved in a lobbying scheme to prevent the judicial selection bill from going through as originally written. If the Chief Justice was in fact behind a lobbying scheme, I would have to say checkmate to all those who say that we have an independent, non-political judiciary. If the backers of the Supreme Court, including the Chief Justice, are in fact lobbying behind the scenes, that's called politics. That's not called independent or apolitical. That is political. Have you heard this story, Janice?
Well, yeah, and you've read the Civic Skinny regarding Justice Waterman and Justice Mansfield, yes?
I have the Civic Skinny, did you say?
Yeah. It's part of City View, the City View magazine.
I have read it, but I don't think here, let me try to call it up.
Well, yeah, you're going to be way more alarmed about what they're reporting than what the Iowa, what is it called?
Iowa Standard, right.
What they're reporting. What I read in terms of what Justice Cady did is pretty, this is very innocuous to the extent that anytime there's a bill that affects the judicial branch, it's very common. When it comes to the judicial budget, the Iowa State Bar Association lobbies the legislators for the budget. This isn't sinister. This isn't evil. He was not approaching legislators directly. This was the Bar Association that is kind of the lobbyist for the a lot of times for the court system, because it's all of us lawyers that belong to the Bar Association and use the court systems. And general people that use the court systems don't have the ability to hire lobbyists. So that's kind of how that works. But the allegations in the Civic Skinny were that there were direct contacts made by a couple of the justices to legislators directly to sway them to finally vote yes for this bill, because there were some holdouts and they were not happy about that, and they went directly to those individuals. Now, I do not know if that's accurate or true or not. I'm just saying that's what was reported in the Civic Skinny.
And who were the authors of the piece again? I have the Civic Skinny called up here now.
Yeah, Michael Gartner is the author of the Civic Skinny, and I don't have a date on that. It's probably one of the more recent Civic Skinnies, but yeah, again, that read was way more bothersome to me if we have justices directly contacting legislators. That's way more troubling to me than having Chief Justice Cady contacting the Iowa State Bar Association.
Well, the Iowa Standard piece, and I understand you really haven't studied it that much, but the Iowa Standard piece implied that, or they didn't imply, they said that Justice Cady was behind a lobbying effort. Now, we're not talking about the Bar Association. We're talking about a well-known lobbyist in Des Moines who was not involved with the Bar Association. The Bar Association has every right to lobby. The judicial branch and the justices, to my mind, do not. But That's what the Iowa Standard is alleging, that Justice Katie and apparently others, according to you, have been lobbying on behalf of the judicial branch.
I kind of am thinking that this Iowa Standard piece came out because of what came out in the Civic Skinny.
Okay, well, that very well could be.
I think it was tit for tat a little bit.
Well, maybe that's the case. I don't know. Michael Gardner is is a well-known newspaper guy. He's the one that was the president of NBC for 5 years that everybody at NBC hated because he slashed the budget so much. But he's an Iowa guy. He used to own the Iowa Cubs, and he was with the Des Moines Register. And
he's a great guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and I wish I knew him better. Like, I would love to know where he gets all of his information, because it is usually spot on. I mean, he's just got people in places that you and I will just never understand.
Well, the guy that is the motivator behind the Iowa Standard is Randy Evans. Now, Randy Evans is a well-known journalist, and he's a pretty sharp guy. Why he's not talking to me, I don't know. Maybe he's not talking to anybody. But I have tried to get a hold of Mr. Evans, and maybe he doesn't want to reveal his sources, whatever. But I've asked him for some clarification on this story.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is I just don't see a huge harm in a person on the bench, any judge, contacting the Bar Association and saying, you know, this is on the forefront or whatever, and this would be the court's position on it, or, you know, our concerns about what this is going to do, because that is the voice. I mean, that's what we've got. I see that very different than direct contact with legislators.
Yeah. What is alleged is that, again, not governor, but Chief Justice Katie was in concert with a well-known lobbyist. He was having the lobbyist call businesses in the area. And I brought this up to Ann Meyer. She said that she has said in the past that she had heard from business people in Fort Dodge that called her apparently out of the blue or without prompting to urge her not to change the judicial nominating process in the state of Iowa. So Ann took that.
I can say how that happened. I mean, we had emails from the Bar Association telling us to contact businesses to let them know that if they had concerns about this, they need to make some contact. So that isn't sinister at all.
Let me, the Bar Association being involved in lobbying for the judicial branch, that sounds a little sinister to me.
Well, no, it's not lobbying for, I mean, it's saying that we have a good system, and everybody that's using the system thinks this is a good system.
But
this isn't lobbying for dollars. I mean, this is saying what system we have in place is working. It's doing a good job. It's as non-political as we can make it. It's the change that has been put in play is change. It's a huge landscape change. Those that think that this is not a big deal are going to be very, very surprised.
If you have the judicial branch directly, and this is what the Iowa Standard is saying, if you have the judicial branch availing itself of the political process, and that's what lobbying is. Lobbying is part of the political process. Yes, the judicial branch, the Farm Bureau, anybody can contact their legislator and say, this is what we'd like to happen. But if we have a nonpartisan, if part of the attraction, if a selling point of our current judicial process is that our judiciary is nonpartisan, we just crossed the partisan line. I think that's more. I think that's more significant.
I think the changes that were made definitely crossed the line. And I don't know if you're aware of this, Mike. I am now, as of July 1, I will be on the State Judicial Nominating Commission.
Well, look at the big brain on Janice. All right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Did you lobby for that position?
I solicited votes. Yes, I did.
So I can call you and say, hey, Janice, that Supreme Court justice you got there, I think you should throw him off of there. What do you think? No, you're not.
Well, we don't get to throw judges out. That's for the voters.
Ah,
yeah. Voters, but we are the body that is charged with selecting the candidates to go forward to the governor.
Well, I can't find that civic skinny piece that you are referring to. Could you text it to me later? Or?
Yeah, I will try and get that to you so you have that. I kind of would have figured you spotted that one, but I will get it to you.
Well, and you've mentioned the civic skinny to me in the past, and it's a good resource, but I haven't used it, frankly, and it's something I've got to add over here in my bookmarks. So, 90 degrees tomorrow. Are you golfing? Do you feel a golf game coming on, or what's going on there?
You know, I think it's going to be a water type of, don't you think? I mean, if you're going to the Cubs game tonight, you're going to need to bring a bottle of a spray bottle so you can just like soak yourself down every once in a while.
Oh, tell me about it, And I got this massive bald spot, which means I have to wear a cap or or I'm going to have a blistered head. I mean, you women just don't.
At night.
Yeah. What night doesn't end this time of year till about 9:45.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, then guard your head, but yeah, you bring plenty of water, and like I said, bring some so you can just dump some on yourself because it's going to be steamy.
It's going to be pretty steamy, is right. All right, Janice, I want you to have a great weekend.
Likewise, everybody be safe out there.
All right, take care of yourself, and thank you for being on, Janice.
You bet.
All right. This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of
Michael Devine and Janice Valentine, now at AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. I predict that as of January, there'll be VW vans driven by people in their 60s and 70s, kind of cruising over the bridge, over the Mississippi River with a big smile on their face, listening to a little Ripple by the Grateful Dead. Here's a little taste. News is next at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Come on.
If my words did glow with the gold of sunshine and my tunes were played on the harp strum, would you hear my voice come through the music? Would you hold it near as it were your own?
Loffersweiler's Funeral Home understands that losing a loved one is one of the most difficult things you will ever experience. They understand that a family who has experienced the loss of a loved one needs immediate assistance that often can't wait until the next morning. Loffersweiler's is there in the darkest moment of a family's life, guiding them through the emotional roller coaster of saying goodbye. More importantly, the staff at Loffersweiler's listens and they care. Loffersweiler Funeral Home, Fort Dodge, serving families like yours since 1856.
Frontier Days 2019 was a huge success, and the Fort Museum and Frontier Village would like to thank the following sponsors: Fort Dodge Ford, Lincoln Toyota, Loffersweiler Seavers Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Midwest Fence and Gate, R&J Material Handling, Rash Construction, Reese Truck and Trailer, Availabank, Fort Dodge Convention and Visitors Bureau, Cargill, Casey's, Cobblestone Inn and Suites, Daniel Pharmacy, First State Bank, and Kemna Auto of Fort Dodge. Thanks again to the sponsors of Frontier Days 2019 from the Fort Museum and Frontier Village.
Soybean growers are going all in on Ingenia herbicide. Now BASF is going all in on Ingenia growers. We're so confident in the performance of this solution, we're now backing it with the Ingenia herbicide weed control guarantee, so you can have true peace of mind. And you can tap into our expanded Grow Smart Rewards program and get cash back. Go all in today at IngeniaHerbicide.com. Grow smart with BASF. Always read and follow label directions.
The following message has been paid for by the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship. If you sell fruit and vegetables commercially in Iowa, the FDA's produce safety rule likely affects you. To find out if you're in compliance and to learn about training classes and resources offered by the Iowa State University Food Safety Team, visit iowasafeproduce.com. The training team is coming to a town near you soon. Follow us on social media and visit iowasafeproduce.com for location updates. This message was supported by the FDA Grant 5810 and does not necessarily represent the official views of the FDA.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. It's 2:57. First of all, obituaries brought to you this hour
by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. Tommy Goodman has passed away. Thomas John Goodman, formerly the Fort Dodge area, died unexpectedly June the 24th. The Goodman name in Fort Dodge is, of course, easily recognizable, and Tommy Goodman went way too soon. Obituaries this hour brought to you by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One and a member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Okay, I'm a little warmed up today. It's Friday after all. Yes, thank God it's Friday. Nevin Mulholland, Randy Kilman will be on next. We'll be talking sports right here at AM 1400 KVFD. Yeah, the voice of Fort Dodge.
If you're into cars or just want to learn a thing or two, tune in every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 for the Under the Hood Car Show on AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
The search for a missing university student in Utah is over. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Police say she was murdered and a suspect is in custody.
Salt Lake City police say it was electronic communication between 23-year-old Mackenzie Lewick and a 31-year-old man taken into custody, whose home was searched this week, where neighbors
observed him burning something in his backyard with the use of gasoline on the dates of June 17th and June 18th.
Police Chief Mike Brown says personal items resembling Lewick's and a female human tissue was recovered. A contractor also tells Fox News the murder suspect tried to hire him to build a soundproof room with a secret door in his basement. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The white supremacist who drove into a crowd of counter-protesters, killing a woman during a rally in Charlottesville, Virginia 2 years ago, is sentenced to life in prison. U.S. Attorney Thomas Cullen says he hopes the federal hate crimes case sends a message.
I believe that sending someone to prison for the rest of his life for manifesting in a violent way those racist, anti-Semitic views sends that message.
The killer, James Fields Jr., apologizing in court for causing hurt and loss. He'll be sentenced again next month on state charges. Former Vice President Joe Biden again criticizing President Trump's response to that deadly Charlottesville attack as he defended his own civil rights record today.
I promise you, if I get elected president, I will be a president who stands against racism, the forces of inclusion and intolerance everywhere in our society.
Speaking at the Reverend Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push convention the day after, his record was challenged by Senator Kamala Harris during a Democratic presidential debate. On Wall Street, stocks finished higher last trading day of June, the Dow up 71 points. This is Fox News.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Call from Georgia. Chad, what's shaking in Macon?
I know the F-150 kicks butt and takes names.
Like how the high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy F-150 thrashes the competition with best-in-class towing and torque?
Mm-hmm, not surprised. Totally saw that coming.
Chad, how do you know so much about F-150 beating the competition?
I drive the competition. Got a 10-year lease.
Kind of embarrassing, huh?
Maybe I shouldn't advertise that fact on a national talk radio show.
Good call. The Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it
it is the bar.
Best-in-class claims with properly configured vehicles. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR based on Ford segmentation.
Now get a 2019 F-150 with 0% financing for 72 months, only at your Ford dealer. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. 0% APR financing for 72 months at $13.89 per month per thousand finance, regardless of down payment. Program number 21040 on 2019 Ford F-150. Not available on Raptor. Residency restrictions apply. Take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 7/1/19. See dealer for qualifications and complete details.
Families of two of the Americans who've died over the past year in the Dominican Republic are trying to find out for themselves what happened with independent autopsies in the U.S.
Cynthia Day and Edward Nathaniel Holmes were found dead in their room at the Gran Bahia Principe La Romana back on May 30th, just 5 days after another American tourist, Miranda Shop Warner, died suddenly in her room. According to a family attorney, the couple was so sick the day before they died, they couldn't fly and asked a friend to get them over-the-counter medication for vomiting and fever. That friend also offered to extend their hotel stay because they were so ill. Now it's a waiting game. The FBI confirming it's still awaiting results of toxicology tests happening within the DR. But the couple's lawyer told Fox News the families wanted an independent autopsy done to get a complete understanding as to the cause and manner of death.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich. Tourism officials in the DR consider the deaths, at least 13 Americans since the beginning of 2018, to be unrelated. An effort to block President Trump from military action in Iran without congressional approval fails in the U.S. Senate. The measure needed 60 votes at least to be added to a defense bill that was already passed. Iran, meantime, pressing the countries still in the nuclear deal for economic help.
An Iranian diplomat saying economic incentives offered by European countries to keep the 2015 nuclear agreement alive are one step forward, but still not enough. This after talks in Vienna between the 6 countries still signed up to the deal after the US withdrew last year. European countries have set up a payment system to keep trade with Iran afloat amid US sanctions. But Iran says it needs more if the agreement is to survive. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
Recapping Wall Street, strong finish to the second quarter. The Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P all up over 6% in June. The Dow gaining 73 points today. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
With us, look at local news for the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting. South Dakota-based Sanford Health and Iowa's Unity Point Healthcare have announced plans to merge in an agreement that would create a sprawling health system in the upper Great Plains and Midwest. The two providers announced their plans earlier today. The Argus Leader in Sioux Falls reports if the merger is approved by regulators, it could be finalized by year's end. The providers said the merger would place the company among the top 15 largest nonprofit health systems nationwide. The new organization would employ more than 83,000 staff, 2,600 physicians, and have more than $11 billion in revenue. Unity Point operates 32 hospitals, including in Fort Dodge, and has relationships with 280 physician clinics throughout Iowa, Western Illinois, and southern Wisconsin. Sanford Health's organization includes 44 hospitals, 1,400 physicians, and more than 200 Good Samaritan Society senior care locations in 26 states and 9 countries. Wright County authorities are asking for the public's help in identifying the driver of a vehicle involved in a hit and run involving a bicycle on Thursday. The Wright County Sheriff's Department says they were called at about 9:35 last night to a hit and run 2 miles north of Belmont on U.S. Highway 69. On arrival, they found a male subject that had been hit while riding his bike. Witnesses told authorities that a black or blue Ford pickup, believed to be a 2008 or 2014 model, stopped momentarily after striking the victim, then sped off southbound on US 69. The pickup is believed to have damaged the passenger's side mirror. If you have any information about the incident, you're asked to contact the Wright County Sheriff's Department at 515-532-3722. A judge has dismissed a lawsuit challenging a new state law that changed the way some judges are selected in Iowa. The lawsuit filed in May by a group of Democratic lawmakers and lawyers against Governor Reynolds was dismissed Thursday by a state court judge who said they don't have legal standing to challenge the law. The new law passed by Republicans and signed by Reynolds gave the governor an additional appointment to the 17-member state judicial nominating commission, resulting in the governor having a majority of 9 appointees. Lawyers continue to elect 8 members to that group. The lawsuit alleged that the vote of the lawyer members of the commission has been diluted and that the law is an unconstitutional overreach by the legislative branch of government into the judicial branch. The commission nominates justices for the Iowa Supreme Court and the Iowa Court of Appeals. Judge Sarah Crane, who was appointed to the court by Reynolds last year, dismissed the case. Reynolds says the decision is good news for the rule of law and Iowans. Attorneys for the plaintiffs say the decision will be appealed to the Iowa Supreme Court. And it'll be a steamy weekend throughout the state of Iowa. Meteorologist Corey Martin at the National Weather Service office of Metro Des Moines says summer's not even been here for a week, and it's already time to crank up those fans and air conditioners.
Temperature is going to be getting up into the 90s, along with the humidity that's already in place here. It's not going to go anywhere. So you combine that kind of heat and humidity, we're looking at heat indices getting into the low 100s as we go through the weekend.
And when the heat index gets into the triple digits, Martin says it's important to take the heat seriously and take precautions if you're working or playing outside.
Last time we saw 90-plus degrees in Iowa would have been earlier this month, I believe on June 5th. We had quite a few locations here in central Iowa crack 90 degrees, but at that time we didn't have the same level of humidity. It's going to feel kind of like our typical, you want to call it dog days of summer, where it's just hot and humid. You just want to make sure during the peak heating time that you limit your time outside and stay hydrated.
The extended forecast calls for highs in the 80s and 90s across much of Iowa, at least through next Wednesday. The tropical temperatures are hard on people, but it's good for the corn crop. It's been a week of catching up on the growing front after a wet spring put corn planting about 2 weeks behind. ISU Extension Field Specialist Rebecca Vitito says the heat will help, but not all corn will hit the mark of the old adage, knee-high by the 4th of July throughout the state. She says some of the earlier planted corn will make it, but the latter planted corn will be lucky to be knee-high. Vitito says she doesn't like being out in this heat, but likes what it does to the corn.
The heat will definitely help grow, and if we're going to have hotter temperatures, I'd like it, especially on the corn side right now. I don't want it when that corn's going to be tasselating and pollinating that year. So having the heat now is kind of going to help push it along, and then once we reach tassel time and when we go to pollination and grain fill, I'd like it to cool off so we can have a longer grain fill period.
Corn is normally ready to start the tasseling phase around mid-July, but she says that could be the end of July or early August this year. Vitito has talked with her colleagues and is hearing there's large variance across the state in corn development.
Some cases, I know like northern Iowa, especially like northwest Iowa, they had really delayed planting. Other parts of the state, like southwest Iowa, not as delayed. So it does vary, and it even varies within the county too, depending upon who got the rain or if it was river bottom ground too.
The last USDA crop report listed 62% of the corn crop is in good to excellent condition. 63% of the beans were rated in good to excellent condition. The next report is due out on Monday. That's a look at local news from the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with highs around 85. Southeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 71 tonight. Partly cloudy again tomorrow. Highs around 92. Low 90s Sunday. Cooler Monday with highs in the upper 80s and thunderstorms. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 85.
Hi, I'm Jamie Brundage, owner of Historic Bruce Funeral Home. When you're planning the memorialization of your loved one, you're telling their story and sharing special memories with your family and friends. At Historic Bruce Funeral Home, we're proud to help you celebrate the life of your loved one, and we're here to guide you with your selections as we help you and your family say goodbye in a way that's right for you. Our staff is committed to compassionate care and attention to detail. Historic Bruce Funeral Home, Fort Dodge. Online at brucesfuneralhome.com.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One and a member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Michael Devine and Nevin Mulholland talking sports on AM 1400 KVFD.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. We're going to tell the truth, make it matter, and we're never going to be boring. Of course, we talk sports on Friday, and joining me in that effort is Nevin Mulholland and Randy Coleman. So, guys, thank you again for being here today. I really appreciate your effort in getting over here and doing this for all the money that you're making doing this, by the way.
You too.
Yeah, me too. No, not a quarter. I did bring some bananas in case you want to snack.
Hey, I got a free cup of coffee, so
you got That's going to do it.
And you had it in a Hawkeye Cup.
That's
for him,
right.
So he,
All right, that's
he
right.
was comfortable with that.
We had the Hawkeye Cup. Yeah, I had a couple of them laying around. I think I got one exactly the same. But anyway, we need to. Should we start with the Democratic Party debate? That was pretty sport. That was contact sports last night. But we'll leave that alone. I think
I missed it. You were just telling me about it, blow by blow.
Blow by
I'm
blow.
Kicking myself.
Kamala goes off on smoking Joe Biden. Joe's taking some heavy shots. Anyway.
Great.
So, and I can never pronounce his name. National Basketball Association most valuable player is Jonas what? Come on.
I have to look.
Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, I have to have it. I have to look at it, and then I can.
The
say
Greek
it.
freak. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
So, is that a deserved award?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that I was surprised about, though, with that award ceremony, we're talking about the NBA award ceremony. If some of you listeners didn't see it, but there were no Golden State players or coaches there. There was no Toronto coaches there, and none of the players, even Kawhi Leonard wasn't even the top 3 for MVP, and Nick Nurse wasn't in the top 3 for the top coach of the year.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
You know what? I think they vote before the
playoffs.
Playoffs.
Okay.
They must.
I think because, I agree. I mean, the job Nick Nurse did was phenomenal. Budenholzer got the coach of the year, and he did a heck of a job too. He's a really good coach.
Yeah.
And so is Nick Nurse. Yeah.
From Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. I had to feel a little bit for the Milwaukee Bucks. They got up on the Raptors 2-0 in the playoffs and then lost the next 4.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But
gosh almighty.
Yeah, it was when I was watching, I thought maybe they had taped it before the finals because none of the teams were there and none of the players were there, and the only one that you could argue about with the Greek freak would be, maybe James Harden. I mean, he had he averaged
a great year.
36 points a game for heaven's sakes, and was unstoppable. But and I think he came in second. I think so,
he did.
Yeah.
The one that surprised me was Paul George was third. I didn't appreciate what a great year he had.
Yeah.
Paul George
with Oklahoma City.
That's right.
He led the league in, which I didn't know. He led the league in steals, and he was, considered one of the top defensive players in the league. And he's kind of in that class with Leonard. He's a very, very good two-way player, both ends of the floor. And that's always been the issue with Harden is, he's not he kind of rests on defense so he can play offense.
Well, some of the Houston fans and NBA fans say that the Houston Rockets depend entirely too much on Harden. That their whole play scheme seems to be centered around Harden, which is not necessarily to the benefit of the Rockets.
Right.
And that may be true. Harden is a gunner, just from anywhere, and he can hit too. There's no doubt about it. But
he can take it to the hole. I mean, he's quick and
but
he
doesn't play the kind of type of game that D'Antoni really likes to coach. They play a different style than what the
ball sticks with him.
Yeah.
It does. That's the best way to put it, I guess. That once Harden gets the ball, that's the end of it. And nobody can be perfect all the time, that's for sure. And Harden is a great player, but it sometimes seems to me, and I've paid attention to him quite a bit the last couple of years, that he is the offense. I mean, when he gets the ball, that's the end of it. He dribbles a few times and shoots, and a lot of times it's successful. But maybe that's what's keeping the Rockets from going to the big game. I don't know. What?
I was going to bring something up. Mike came across the internet the other day from Athlon Sports. They ranked the top 130 college football coaches from top to bottom.
Don't tell me where Ferentz is.
Well, I'm going to ask you, and this should be easy, but who do you think was number one?
Well, I would be Saban, I'm assuming.
Okay. He was. How about number 2?
Urban Meyer?
No, he's retired, so they didn't rank him.
Okay.
Clemson.
Dabo
Swinney, yeah. But and you can really argue these things. Ferentz was 20th.
Really?
Matt Campbell was 22nd.
Campbell was.
Yeah. Pat Fitzgerald was 21st. But there are people ahead of these guys and even behind them. I mean, this one surprised me is Les Miles, who won a national championship at LSU, was ranked 58th. I mean,
that seemed to be that was his peak, though. He's been going downhill ever since.
Well, he hasn't been around for the last number of years.
Yeah,
coach, but
I know that. But he got fired at LSU.
Everybody does eventually.
Yeah, but if you look at his record, he won a national championship at LSU. And I swear, I don't know if he ever lost more than 3 games in any year when he was there.
Right.
Now, Les Miles, who's not at Kansas, is doing big stuff down there.
Is he in Kansas now?
Yeah, he is. And he hadn't coached a game yet, but they are recruiting. What did we hear?
Number 2.
Number 2 in the country?
No, Big 12.
Big 12 for 2021 or 22? Or
2020, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is amazing. I mean,
yeah.
You're talking about Oklahoma, Texas, all those Texas schools, and Kansas is ranked second right now in the recruiting class in the Big 12. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what Les does at Kansas because, of course, that has been a coaching graveyard.
Yeah,
And
it has.
that door's been swinging like on a turnstile.
I wonder why that is. Why Kansas can't get it going to save themselves down there.
And you know what? Well, their stadium is War Memorial Stadium is old, but they have a plan to put a ton of money into it. But their facilities, actually, their practice facilities, their locker room, they're as good as anybody's. They're really not.
Just recently, though. Just recently.
Yeah. But still, and they put a bunch of money into that program, and they've got money. So, and they got the weather's so much nicer than it is around here. Believe it or not, just that.
Oh, I believe that. Oh, I know that.
South, it just doesn't take much.
You get into northern Missouri. I mean,
and it's a gorgeous school. If you've ever been to Lawrence, it's beautiful. It's and obviously they've done it with basketball, but maybe that's it too. Basketball is king down there. Right now.
Yeah. What do you think about the Hawkeye football new golden uniforms? Did you see
I
that?
like them. I'm liking them.
That's just for one game, though, right?
Well, I think so for it.
I don't like the wings of the deal on the shoulder pads again, but I like everything else about them. I think they're kind of funky.
Yeah,
I think they'll now maybe they'll be too much when you see the entire team in them.
Could be.
They'll look like Baylor basketball.
I know it.
Yeah, but what the heck? I think they're fun.
You're seeing this stuff, I think, because of Brian Ferentz. I think he's changing his dad a little bit down there. They're getting, the whole philosophy of recruiting at Iowa has changed. Now they're out there trying to get early commitments and they've got like 20 early commitments or something. And they never used to do that. It was always, we're going to wait and evaluate and all this sort of thing. And now they're out there, which a lot of other programs are doing too. But
they're a funny group, though, the way they recruit. Their philosophy, they recruit kids to develop them.
Exactly.
Not about where they are or how they're rated now, but what can we turn them into? And I will give them credit. That philosophy basically has worked for them, and maybe it's been a philosophy they've had to implement because it's difficult for them to go up against Ohio State and Michigan for 5 stars or Notre Dame for that matter. But I always think Iowa City's a very, it's a cool place. It's a cool school. Their facilities are off the charts.
Yeah, they got great facilities.
I think they ought to be able to recruit with the big boys. But,
it's interesting, though. I was in the paper today. Like Micah Hyde, who's an all Big Ten,
right?
And he's been in the NFL now for 10 years, 2-star out of Ohio. Desmond King out of Michigan, Jim Thorpe Award winner, first team All-American, 2-star out of Michigan. Dallas Clark from Livermore, 2-star. Matter of fact, I don't even know if he was a 2-star. I think he was. I think he was a walk-on. Yeah. And you can go down the line of Iowa's best players. Josie Jewell's another one. He was a 2-star at best, and yet they turned these guys into all Big Ten players.
That was all spurred a little bit by the fact that they offered and got a commitment from this Dees Fernandez out of Michigan. That's a 2-star, 160-pound defensive back. Yeah. And they get an early commitment. Everybody going,
well, why would you get an early commitment from a kid like this? And that's what spurred this whole conversation in the Register about Phil Parker and his ability to go out and find these kids that can play at a very high level, but are hidden gems, basically.
Unfortunately, that philosophy hasn't worked for our wide receivers.
we still have old conservative Kurt there. He's going to be that way. And
but like
I'll tell
Andy
you,
says,
it's changing now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they're more aggressive on offense.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll never. I think Kirk's always going to play it close to the vest.
Yep.
Always. That's just his nature.
Yeah, okay, and it's
mouth.
worked
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
When he's got a really good team, he can win. He can win those close teams. When they're not quite there, he'll lose those close games. But everything seems to be close. Is my point. He's now listen. Iowa just signed from Southeast Valley here, the Graves kid. 2022. He's going to be a sophomore, I think. Would that be right? Defensive end. I
think it'd be a junior.
Okay, junior.
Yeah,
from Southeast Valley. Yeah, and
that's unbelievable. I mean, that would have never happened 3-4 years ago.
It's interesting because in the sense that this kid's a stud.
Yeah,
he is. Though, and they got to him quick. Before, I've been talking with people in the area that have watched him play, whether it's football or basketball. He's incredibly athletic. He's got a big time body already as a I guess junior.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
What's
him.
his name again?
Graves.
Is it Aaron Graves? Yeah.
Yeah, his dad is a assistant coach over there. I believe.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then they picked up the Fisher kid from there, who was a great
Preferred
running back.
walk-on,
He was a
wasn't he?
preferred walk-on. Yeah.
I still think when you mentioned defensive ends, one of the greatest sports stories I've heard in the last month, out of the class of 1974, Lake Mills High School, Mike Stensrud, retired NFL player, has a few cocktails at the County Board of Supervisors meeting, and he's a County Board of Supervisor. He's sitting up at
Lake Mills.
It's Lake Mills. Very, very talented.
It's Iowa.
He's busted for public drunkenness during the meeting, and he's a supervisor.
Yeah.
That's an old NFL story there, I'll tell you. That's a great story. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. We're talking sports with Randy Coleman and Nevin Mulholland. What's going on with the Cubs there? And Nevin, I haven't been able to check the last couple of days.
We had a good win yesterday, I tell you.
Braves?
Yeah, and we were getting it handed to us. We're down 6-1, Mike, and we come back, get back in that game, and we end up winning 9-7. And Kimbrel, our boy Kimbrel, closes it out. Little starts off, looks like $1 million. He strikes out the first guy. He's got the heater going pretty good, gets a ground out, and then they double. He walks the next guy. And then I think it was Freddie Freeman hits a shot down the first baseline that Rizzo makes a great play on, and Kimbrel forgets to cover first. But Rizzo
Back
dives
to Iowa for you, Kimbrel.
but dives into first and makes a play, and the Cubs win 9-7.
Rizzo dived into.
Yeah, after he was well behind the bag, playing deep behind the bag, and just barely beat him to the bag. But it was all in all, that was a game we had to have. We were on a 10-game homestand.
Yeah.
And we didn't do much there. Now we're on the road, and we've got a game lead, I think.
Yeah.
Now Baez and Contreras are both going to start on the All-Star team.
Oh, that's well deserved, especially Baez.
Well, really, especially Contreras.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, I'm not taking anything away
No,
from
but I
Contreras.
mean, he clearly is the best catcher in the National League right now.
He is tough.
Yeah.
We have a decent team. If we could do something with that bullpen, I think.
Listen, the bullpen, if Kimbrel does what we hope he can do, we go from a questionable bullpen to an extremely strong bullpen. Yesterday was a perfect example of that because you bring Cishek in the – well, actually, he pitched 2 innings, I think, but he looked pretty comfortable. No, he pitched 1 inning. And then you bring in Kisner, who's been terrific all year.
Mm-hmm.
He has yet to give up an earned run at Wrigley. He pitches the 7th. Strope looks like $1 million in the 8th, and we go to Kimbrel. Everybody looked pretty comfortable. All of a sudden, they look like they're in the right spots, and they're pitching with comfort. They're where they belong. So, and then we got a couple lefties in there with Montgomery and who's our lefty? But I
Chapman, you thinking of?
No.
Doesn't make any difference.
No, it doesn't.
Can
Ryan.
we trade
Ryan.
Okay. Can we trade you, Darvish, to anybody?
No, we can't. He's got a big contract, and he's just a head case. I've decided. No, he's truly a head case.
There you go, Randy. He's nuts.
He's got stuff. His stuff's the best stuff on the starting rotation, honestly. But he just, when he gets under pressure, you got a man on second base, and if Darvish is pitching, chances are that guy's going to get a score. The guy at bat is going to knock him in. I don't know. Somehow they got to get him to a shrink and get him squared away.
Something. I don't know. I know what you're talking about. You can see what's going on with him when he's on the mound and things go bad. I mean, he just looks like he's in pain and he feels sorry for himself or something. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that competitive thing that you see in other big league ball players. Oh, you got a hit off me or you got a home run. I'm going to come back and shove the ball.
He's not John Lester.
No, he's not.
You know, I mean, and I feel bad about that in some way because he does have talent, truly has talent. I mean, he throws about 5 different pitches.
He does.
And typically can throw them for strikes.
Mm-hmm.
But, in the clutch, he'll leave the ball up and bam, it's out of there.
It is. And when that happens, he's done. You might as well take him out of the game.
Well, I say that, but then I see flashes. So he's down 5-0 2 nights ago, and we have a rain delay, which 45-minute delay, and they bring him back out and
Really?
he pitches. Yeah, and here's a guy that's been injured, and you think, what the heck? He comes back out, and he's doggone tough. He pitched really well. He hung in there. He didn't give up any more runs, and he did a nice job. I was shocked that they would bring him back after that delay, but maybe they're sending a message saying, hey, just suck it up and get out there. You're good enough, and we're not taking you out.
Yeah, we can't depend on a 45-minute delay every game.
Well,
you feels bad. Let's stop the game for an hour.
Yeah. So anyway,
there's
your Cubs.
All right, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Before we leave football, we were talking about football earlier. I again want to give full credit to up-and-coming middle linebacker Kamala Harris for taking Joe Biden out of the game last night with a big hit about 9 minutes into the debate. Randy Kuhlman, Nevin Mulholland, we're talking sports. We'll be back at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine and Nevin Mulholland talking sports on AM 1400 KVFD.
Michael Devine, Nevin Mulholland, and Randy Kuhlman talking sports. I got to get this straight now. 3:30 news is next.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. That's why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
Try ZipRecruiter now for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive Little Blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. Right now, get your first month supply for free. All you pay is just $5 for your medical consultation when you go to 4hims.com/excite. After that, it's just $30 for a month's supply. Sure beats paying big bucks for just one blue pill, doesn't it? Plus, you won't need an awkward in-person doctor's appointment to get the prescription. Hims has doctors online who can prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. It's affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/excite. That's 4hims.com/excite for your first month for just $5. forhims.com/excite.
When you're at Fort Frenzy, Wednesday, July 3rd, for the community fireworks celebration, make sure you stick around for the spectacular Lights of Glory presentation. Tune in to Iowa's favorite country, K97, for this special patriotic musical event. Be there to witness a spectacular fireworks show with synchronized patriotic music broadcast live on K97. Lights of Glory, a special patriotic presentation, is brought to you by More Bonding, R&J Material Handling, Riley Armstrong Plumbing, Victory Motors, and Alpha Media.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. It's 3:33. First of all, in the weather, going to be sunny today with a high of 86. Overnight partly cloudy, low 71. Tomorrow sunny with a high of 95. On Sunday, sunny with a high of 95. On Monday, we will have some thunderstorms, just light ones. Otherwise sunny with a high of 88. On Tuesday, there's a chance of a thunderstorm, sunny with a high of 87. Wednesday, chance of showers and thunderstorms, otherwise partly sunny with a high of 86. On Independence Day, a chance of rain once again, mostly sunny with a high of 85. Right now in Fort Dodge, it's 85 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the historic Bruce's Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South in Fort Dodge. You may contact the historic Bruce's Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. Tommy Goodman has died. Thomas John Goodman has died. The Goodman name, of course, in Fort Dodge, very well known. Tommy John was born in Ames, April 26, 1967, so he died way too soon. His parents, of course, were Thomas Goodman and Connie Goodman. So our sympathies are extended to the Goodman family. Larry Siebert has died at the age of 73. Larry Siebert has passed away. Services will be at 2 o'clock Saturday at the historic Bruce's Funeral Home, 1 hour prior at the Zion Lutheran Church in Humboldt. Let me say that again. Services will be at 2 o'clock Saturday. Visitation 1 hour prior at Zion Lutheran Church. There we go. The visitation will be at Zion Lutheran Church in Humboldt. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the historic Bruce's Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South. You may contact the historic Bruce's Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. 334, 85 degrees at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. With a look at the closing market report, here's Dwayne Murley.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. July corn down 19 3/4 at $4.20 1/4. September down 21 cents at $4.24 3/4. December down 19 1/2 at $4.31 1/2. March down 17 1/4 at $4.39 1/2. July soybeans up 12 cents at $8.99 3/4. August up 10 3/4 at $9.04 1/2. September beans up 11 at $9.11. November up 10 3/4 at $9.23. July wheat closed down 19 1/2 at $5.28. Soybean meal up 90 cents a ton at $3.13.10. June live cattle down 7 cents at $110.50. August down $1 at $104.35. August feeder cattle up $105 at $136.85. September up 60 cents at $136.70. July lean hogs down $172 at $72.10, and August down $117 at $76. From the farm desk, I'm Dwayne Murley.
A healthy dairy appetizer. We have the recipe. Hi, I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. Nutritionist Amanda Marsh with the St. Louis District Dairy Council came to Brownfield to show us how to make it.
Take a skewer, take a mozzarella ball, take a tomato, and then some basil. You don't need the full thing of basil, and you push it on. So with the dairy, you're getting your 9 essential nutrients, your protein, and then you're getting some fiber here because you're having the cherry tomato. Super simple, super easy, and it looks really elegant too. So if you're going to, I know we're in June, but right around the corner, 4th of July, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is a great little thing to put on the plate, and you can make it, kind of fun and decorative. And once you get a few, this is a balsamic glaze. Now this I just got at the store, but you can easily make your own reduction. That's what it is. It's a balsamic vinegar reduction by putting the balsamic vinegar on a stove and just heating it up. Just drizzle it on.
Oh, that's perfect.
And so now you have a really cute, easy little, appetizer to bring to all of those outdoor barbecues or graduation parties, 4th of July parties, family gatherings. I mean, whatever you have, whatever you want.
I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch our soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much. I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Loffersweiler Funeral Home is pleased to announce the addition of our crematory. I'm Luke Loffersweiler. The addition of our on-site crematory is another example of how we consistently exceed expectations and deliver a standard of service that is 100% guaranteed. At Loffersweilers, we're honored to give your family our assistance and expertise, taking care of even the smallest details before, during, and after the funeral, so you can begin the healing process. We're Loffersweiler Funeral Home, Fort Dodge, a trusted friend of the family for over 160 years.
Get up first thing, smoke a cigarette before lunch, after lunch. Now that I'm talking about it, I kind of feeling like I've lost about 4 hours of every day. I decided I needed to find an alternative. So I started looking, and then Juul came up. I did both for a while. Eventually I just switched over, and it's very quick.
Mimi made the switch July 2015. Make the switch at JUUL.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Thrifty White Community Health Corner. Planning a road trip this summer? Make sure you bring your medications. Forget all those bulky bottles and sign up for our Healthy Pack RX medication packaging. All your prescription medications are packaged into individual packets with easy-to-read labels organized by date and time to be taken. Simply tear off the packets for the dates you'll be gone and you're good to go. In order to use Healthy Pack, you must be on 2 or more medications. Visit your local Thrifty White pharmacy to sign up today.
Got a painting or staining project to do? Check out Iowa Outdoors and Hardware first. Come in now through July 7th during their summer rebates event and save up to $80 on the industry's highest quality products, Valspar interior and exterior paint, and Cabot exterior stains. You're going to love the extensive paint department at Iowa Outdoors and Hardware. It's stocked with everything you need for your summer projects. For all your paint needs, see Iowa Outdoors and Hardware at the junction of Highways 169 and 7, Fort Dodge.
It's Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. We're talking sports today again with Randy Kuhlman and Nevin Mulholland. So again, guys, thanks for being here. We're right before the All-Star break. It is kind of a slow time in sports. But I always look forward to the All-Star game. I always look forward to the home run derby. That home run derby was a big addition, I think. That's such a fun night.
I think it is kind of fun.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it too. I enjoy the home run derby. I think it's kind of funky.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Yeah. Actually, they remember seeing those old they used to have a home run derby television show in the probably in the late 1950s, early 60s.
Yeah.
Mickey Mantle, Elston Howard, Willie Mays would compete against just the two of them, and then there'd be a prize at the end of the year, like $1,000 goes to the winner.
Yeah.
Ernie Banks was there. Eddie Matthews of the old Braves, the old Milwaukee Braves. It was great television. They used to run them on ESPN Rewind or whatever it is every now and then. But that's where it came from, and they revived it. I don't know how many years ago, 15, 20 years ago. But it's a fun night.
It's impressive to watch some of those guys hit that ball.
It is.
I mean, it's unbelievable how far they can hit it. And just, they'll knock 4 or 5 out in a row. It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of how the whole game's going. It's a lot of it's about hitting home runs.
I watched Mark McGwire, who's a big guy anyway, during the home run derby. And he was, I don't know if he won, but jeez, when he hit a ball, it went far and away.
Yeah, he had a little extra help going for him. But
apparently, a lot of the players did.
Back then,
a lot of the players did. But I will tell you,
just staying even.
Yeah, I saw him play when he was still with the Oakland A's when there was the Bash brothers, and he and Canseco looked like a couple of.
Oh yeah, Jose.
Oh yeah, looked like a couple of football players.
Bash brothers.
The Bash brothers, yeah.
Wow.
And they looked like a couple of football players out there. Huge weightlifter, big. And Kirby Puckett was on the Twins. We were up at the Dome. He's built like a tank, little short guy.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of home runs flying out of that the old Metrodome that day. I think McGuire hit 2, Canseco hit 1, and Kirby Puckett hit 2. So it was a good game for the kids that we took along because the Twins lost. Storm Davis, I think, was on the mound. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
But he was a big, strong guy too. Threw the ball hard, and I saw some good pitchers up there. Jack Morris when he was with the Chicago White Sox. Carlton Fisk was with the White Sox in those years and got thrown out of a game right on time.
Is that right?
Yeah, Carlton. Yeah.
Arguing with the
oh yeah, he jumped on the umpire. Either the umpire called a ball or something, and Fisk was actually catching, and Fisk stood up and just got in this umpire's face, and the umpire threw him out. And Fisk did not go quietly into that good night, to say the very least. In fact, he was still in the dugout yelling for quite some time.
Even though it's kind of a slow time right now, there's some interesting stuff happening when you start looking around. For example, getting back to the NBA with the free agency, because I think, Nevin, you know more than I do, but I mean, they've got to make these decisions here in the next week or two.
Well, Sunday's free agency actually opens up where, you can start negotiating, and they're actually, I couldn't believe this. Chicago Comcast will have a special Sunday night on the opening of free agency, and so they're going to cover it, and so it'll heat up. It'll be real interesting. You hear everything. Kawhi Leonard, I think you can start there. Where's he go? Does he stay in Toronto? Does he go to the Lakers, who have now opened up enough cap space that they could sign him? Does he go to the Clippers, Nets, or Knicks? What do you think, fellas? Well, I mean, it's pretty interesting.
I don't think anybody has a clue what he's going to do.
No, I don't either. But it would be interesting if Kawhi and Kevin Durant wound up on the Knicks. The Knicks have sucked for a long time, and I don't understand that. It's such a sports town, biggest city in the country, plenty of money there.
They're not going to the Knicks. Okay.
I know they're not. But why does it? Well, here, let me ask you a broader question then. Why do the Knicks keep sucking? Other teams are spending a lot of money to get better and to be competitive.
Well, they spend the money, but they make bad decisions. Yeah. You can go all the way back. Recent time to Amari Stoudemire. Huge mistake. Wrapped up a ton of money in him. And so now they're trying to decide what their strategy is. And I think they made it pretty clear that if they don't get, say, Durant or Kyrie Irving, somebody that upper level, they are not going to throw money at these free agents just below the line that put them at risk. They'll just keep trying to build their team. That's their strategy now, I believe. But the ownership has been horrible.
Must have been.
Well, and you've got to create. It's more a proper culture. It goes all the way back to your scouts, your doctors, your team. The Nets have a better organization right now than the Knicks do, and everybody knows it. Coaching. So I think the Nets could be more formidable than the Knicks.
And I think too that the teams that have great success have these. Yeah, they have superstars, but they're also superstars that are leaders. And they take charge of the team, and they will the team to win. And the superstars are what they thought were going to be superstars in New York. Carmelo Anthony, for example. These guys aren't leaders; they're kind of selfish people that it's all about them. And I think back. Of course, I was a big Bulls fan with Michael Jordan, but I remember, I always remember this quote from Phil Jackson when they were talking about chemistry of the team. And they asked Phil Jackson, they said, Phil, how do you deal with one of the players on your team that's maybe not giving 100% or his attitude's not right? What do you say to the kid? How do you coach him? And he says, I don't say anything to him. I go tell Michael to talk to him. And that's when you got that kind of leadership on your team from your superstars, then the other guys listen. And I think you see that, LeBron was the same way, quite honestly. I'm not a LeBron fan, but by golly, he was kind of that way. He was kind of, hey, boy, get on my back and go with me, or I'm gonna get after you. And I look at Golden State, with, for example, as good as Durant is, I don't see Durant being that kind of player. But I think Curry is a little bit. And of course, interesting enough, Draymond Green is a huge competitor. I don't know if he carries that kind of weight with the other players, but you just see that kind of leadership helps you win championships. And I just think New York. When's the last time you've seen a guy like that at New York? It's been 20 years or longer.
Long time since Patrick Ewing was.
Yeah.
Well, they built their team initially around, in the last couple of years, Porzingis, and there was a problem there. I don't know if it was with Porzingis or upper management and the coaching. But
Porzingis just did seem to be did seem to have some problems off the court.
Porzingis even on the court. I mean, after his first year, they remembered the famous exit interview, and he doesn't show up. He, everybody goes in, meets with the coaching staff, management. He doesn't go.
Oh.
He said, I'm not going. I don't like, I don't understand exactly why he didn't, but it was very well covered in New York. And, Dolan is the owner, I guess, trying to think, is the owner of the Knicks, and that just made him very upset. But I think it indicates he didn't provide the type of leadership that you're talking about.
Yeah.
LeBron. I mean, LeBron's famous for, he's the first guy in that gym and he's the last guy out.
Right.
And nobody works to prepare himself for the season like LeBron James does. I mean, they say he personally spends $1 million on his nutritionist, on his therapist, his
Therapist, really?
Well, physical. I mean, his getting his body ready, getting him.
He might have a life coach too, for all I know.
Yeah, but it's $1 million. He takes it seriously.
Yeah,
he really does,
yeah.
And he holds all his teammates to the same standard that he holds himself to.
Yeah.
I read an article. I think it was Kyle Korver was talking about it. Everybody says it's got to be hard to play with LeBron James. He says, not hard to play with LeBron James. I mean, I've never seen a guy prepare like this guy does. You just gotta, you gotta be all in with him. And he said, I'm good with that. He says, but some players have difficulty with that.
Right. Maybe a Kyrie Irving, I mean, he wasn't very happy in Cleveland.
Interesting to see. There is talk about Kyrie going to the Lakers. The Lakers need a point guard. Now they have the ability to sign Kyrie Irving. There's two camps there. A certain group of people will tell you there's no way in hell he would ever go back and play with LeBron.
Yeah.
But he did reach out to him this year. They kissed and made up. I think he may have realized, it wasn't all that bad.
Yeah, we were winning.
And there's another camp that says, he would consider going back and playing with LeBron. So that will be interesting to see if that happens. I don't think it will, but
I look at Kyrie and, again, I'm looking at it from a guy that watches him on TV. Okay.